Hello, YouTube. This is Mahadev, the Thunder Wizard. We are going to talk about the solar flash event is continuing, but before I do that, please take a look here. These are audiobooks that I've just been able to release, and you'll see the links there, bit.ly/, usually the first two words of the book. Extraterrestrials are coming to Earth, RUNE shamanism, happiness, wealth shaman. Those are the first two. If you click on those links, you will get you'll get a free trial, and I believe you'll get access to 2 audiobooks. All right, the solar flash. Solar flash is something that we need to be a part of. It's something that we need to participate in. I do not believe, and I don't know, but I do not believe that the solar flash will happen completely independent of us. I do believe that it will be a world changing event. I do believe that it will be an event that the entire world witnesses. And I do believe it will be, the end result will be absolutely amazing. I know that even some people in the spiritual community, whatever that means, there's so many different possibilities, but there's a lot of people who say the same kind of thing that I would say had I not been given inside information about this. There's a lot of people who say the solar flash is us. We can't be waiting around for something outside of us to come and fix us. We have to do it. The solar flash isn't going to happen to the world, everybody at once. We individually. And that sounds really good. I would have said the exact same thing had I not been given different information. We did have a solar flash event on December 2nd. Now, not everybody experienced something. I've checked with some people, and some people like me had a very real event that felt like a solar flash, not like the solar flash, but a solar flash. And I've talked to people who had, I guess what you would call detox symptoms, where they found themselves very emotional that day, or they had things like headaches, depression, lots of emotional stuff come to the surface, which would make sense because that's one of the things the solar flash will do. It will cleanse any negativity within us, will relieve us of the 3-dimensional misguided understanding of reality, which has us operating from fear and from denial. And then there are some people that just didn't feel anything. So whatever happened to you on December 2nd, I feel pretty confident that something happened. People sent me some links of other videos and things on that date showing that there was something going on with the sun, some kind of solar, flares or sunspots or things like that. And I'm definitely open to all that, but I don't rely on that because I don't know what kind of energy the solar flash is. I don't know if it's an actual scientifically measurable energy or if it's a purely spiritual energy or both. I don't know. The thing that I am most interested in is my experience of things. So that's my litmus test for everything. Doesn't matter what it is. There's only 3 things that matter. So remember these 3 things. There's only 3 things that matter, and that is, Are you happier? Are you healthier? And are you more prosperous? Sometimes we're not all three of those things at the same time, but we should be bouncing around those three things and moving in a direction where we are, on the whole, happier, healthier, and more prosperous. That is the sign that you are following your soul, and the universe and your external manifestation is cooperating with you. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have some issues that you bump into. But I myself am having some growth issues again. I had, as a result of some of the things that I have been doing, combination of things I've been doing, which I think involves doing these live interdimensional meditations with you guys. I had a visitation from an extremely powerful, I think, group of ETs. I think there's like councils of them. They showed up and they said, because of the work you've been doing, you're going to get an energy upgrade. And they jolted me with some interdimensional energy and other things that I'm not ready to talk about. And I'm still recovering from that. Mentally, emotionally, and physically, my body is fighting it. And here's what's interesting about it. It's just, including mine, our human attachment to our 3D limitations is really the only thing holding us back. That's it. It's the only thing. And we act out in destructive ways. Look, nobody's doing anything to the human race. The universe isn't doing anything to the human race. The human race is doing things to the human race. We live in a perfectly good planet Earth that gives us more than everything, abundantly far more than we could possibly need to survive and be happy. There is literally no reason for poverty. There's no reason for money. It's a completely made up thing. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for violence. There's no reason for wars. There's no reason for the majority of the disease. There's no reason for any of it. We do it to ourselves. Nobody's doing it to us. There's no cosmic plan out there. There's no cosmic warfare going on. I know a lot of people, even in the ufology crowd, really want to get into some intergalactic war with good aliens versus bad aliens. I'm telling you, that's not going on. Not in the slightest. We on Earth live in the ass end of the consciousness realm. Earth is a bizarro upside down world in terms of 3D. Every religion, when they talk about heaven, they talk about when you die, you go to heaven. And that is absolutely the truth. What it means is that your soul, which is multidimensional, is no longer trapped within the third dimension. And please, when I talk about dimensions, please don't conflate what I'm saying with some of the ufology nonsense like densities and the law of one and all of that complete, total, utter nonsense. I'm talking about dimensions from a quantum physics perspective. When we die, our body leaves the confines of the third dimension. And when our body leaves the confines of the third dimension, we are in bliss. We are in heaven. Once you get above 3D, any dimension higher than 3D, you have endless love, endless bliss. There's no such thing as judgment. There's no such thing as anger. There's no such thing as fear. None of those things exist in any higher dimension above 3D. Doesn't exist. Once you have been to a higher dimension, you realize that what exists there is complete truth, for one thing. There's no such thing as lies. Nobody can lie. You can't lie to anybody. You can't hide anything from anybody because you're connected. One of the things I'm struggling with, I have to be careful not to overthink it, because if I do, it causes me physical pain. My physical body starts to react with pain. But ever since my successful contact with higher dimensional ET, I have been, I don't know what they did, but they spent weeks doing things to me energetically, which were blissful and wonderful. But one of them was, I've got a live connection 24/7. I've got a live connection to that dimension. And part of what happens is that there's all these energies and feelings that are flowing into me all the time. Lately I've been asking, hey, can you guys tone it down? Because half the time I don't know what's happening. I don't know what you're saying or what the energy is or what. And I need you to tone it down. And they have. But what it has showed me is it's given me a glimpse of what it's like when you're out of 3D and you are either a spirit or you are living in a body that is a higher dimensional body. Because our ET friends, if they have physical bodies, they live on higher dimensions. There's a continuous connection, which is why anybody who's, if you look at this picture here, this is, from Dr. Greer stuff, you see 3 different, very different extraterrestrial species there. They're completely different. And yet I can tell you from personal experience, some of the larger ships that are out there contain, in one case, I believe there had to have been hundreds of different ETs of different species. There was hundreds of them at least. And I don't know how many different species there were, but there was a ton of them. And one of the reasons why there's this, this United Nations of different ETs is because when you meet another conscious being in a higher dimension, doesn't matter where they're from, doesn't matter what species there are, when you're in a higher dimension, you immediately see the essence of that being. And you immediately connect with them and you feel a connection with them and they with you. If you meet somebody in the 5th dimension, some stranger for the first time, you will feel as though this person is an integral part of you. You've been waiting to see them. It's like, oh my God, it's you. I'm so happy I finally caught up with you. You may have never met that person before. That doesn't happen here on Earth unless, you're bonkers or you're on, some kind of party drug. That kind of stuff doesn't happen here. So this is what higher dimensions are like. So until such time as we actually do have a complete changing event, we have to do our job. When my ET friends came to me, had to have been 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, and they came to me and they said, we are coming for you first. Now, bear in mind, this is what my mind does with their communications in whatever way that is. It comes through the dimensional barrier. It gets inside my mind and my thoughts and my own voice come up. And I heard my own thoughts say to me, we're coming for you first. I had no idea what that meant. I knew it was in connection with the solar flash, the event. I knew it was having to do with that. So I thought they were saying that they were going to come to me first, and then, a half an hour later, they were going to come for everybody else. But what they meant, now that I've experienced it, what they meant was, we are coming to give you a taste of the 5th dimension first. We're coming to you first so you can experience it. I was going to get a sneak peek. And I spent the better part of a day in an incredibly elevated spiritual place where everything was different. I felt connected to everybody, but I also had the ability to focus on that and increase it. I also had the ability to focus on negativity and decrease it. So what we can do now is we can begin to act as though it's here. It is here. It has already started. The event has already begun. There will come a point where I believe there will be a final big, explosion of energy that everybody will experience, but we're leading up to it. So what you can do to do two things, to bring this ascension event to us sooner, as well as make yourself more ready for it, so that when it hits, it will be a pleasant experience, and it won't be a challenging one. You can start very easily by consciously focusing on how you can catch yourself when you are in judgment of others, when you are comparing yourself to other people. One of the you know why we judge people? We judge people because unconsciously we feel inferior to them. So we judge them so we can feel better about ourselves. So if you can catch yourself when you're judging somebody, you can then find that. The other thing we do is we project. So we might see somebody, let's say, who's inferior physically to us in some way. And we could find that and judge them. But what's really happening is that you're projecting onto them. What you perceive as a weakness makes you uncomfortable because you feel the weakness within yourself and you don't want that. So you project onto them a judgment. And the more that you can seek to become aware of it, I'm not here to give you the love and light spiel of everything is love and light, just don't have any negativity. You know me better than that. You're not supposed to deny your negative feelings. It's not how this works. You're not supposed to pretend that you don't have any anger or fear. It's not what I'm saying. People who do that are usually the most, some of the love and light crowd are some of the most toxic, judgmental, passive-aggressive people I've ever met. And it's because they judge themselves for their negative feelings. And one of the ways that you can have compassion for other people in their negativity is when you have compassion for yourself in your own negativity. So these are just some obvious things, but it's a very real process. This is why on my channel, when we do the live streams, I only want two things from you. I either want you to share with me an honest feeling, an honest feeling. And an honest feeling is I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm, a feeling. Really get to the feeling. Don't give me an opinion, don't give me a story, don't give me a context. I just want a feeling. Because the more that you can be conscious of whatever feelings you have, the more ability you'll have to not then act on that feeling in a destructive way, with a judgment, with some kind of self-deprecating action, some kind of destructive action towards somebody else, or self-sabotaging action on yourself. You know what I found most interesting about my communications with my ET friends is that the most traumatic, now bear in mind I've gone through some pretty major transformational experiences, some really challenging, traumatic, aftermath after having been with an ET. And it's always as after they have given me some incredibly blissful, powerful, what they call, in my mind, they say, we're coming to give you an energy upgrade. And when they do that, it's always connected to some incredibly supportive unbelievably loving communications and gestures that get to me on the deepest level of my being. And what's interesting is that the more loving, the more empowering it is, the more traumatic it is for me personally. I've got some shoulder pain because the one that just happened a few days ago was so unbelievably, grandiosely, wonderfully supportive and loving to me on the deepest level. I mean, it was going against the programming inside of me, the devaluing program that not only I got from my family, but from 3D reality. 3D reality is based on a program of devaluation. And these beings live on a completely flipped reality where when they see a being, they don't see what we do. When we see a being, we see either what we want to consume, like they're physically attractive, or they have success, or they have something we want, or they remind us of our parents, or something like that, which is we're looking to consume them. Most people conflate love with actually the desire to consume. Or when we see people, we protect ourselves, or we want to overcome them, or control them, or destroy them, or placate them, or get their approval. We operate from these very low level devaluation programming. All of us do it. It's part of our 3D animal programming. And we have to work to do the opposite. We have to really do work on ourselves, spiritual work, psychological work, to be able to expand our ability to love and accept and all of those good things. It takes work for us. For them, their instinct when they see a being is to see them for who they are and see the infinite potential of who they are. And so their first response is real and honest, and they empower from a higher dimensional perspective, which is a lot of energy. For a lower dimensional being to be in that presence is extremely difficult. Even in the Bible it says, I'm not a Bible person, but one thing they got right is, if you were to see God in all of his glory, it would kill you. Now, that's coming from a devaluation perspective because they say God is perfect and you're imperfect, you're sinful and he is without sin, and you would tear yourself apart because you hate your sin. It's actually a completely warped misunderstanding of it. What it is that when you're in the presence of something that loves you so completely and so passionately and so fully and with such purity, the only thing that you can feel after that is all of the negative programming you have within you. And you are identified with that. So you don't realize, those of you who have a victim mentality, those of you who really get off on politics and you want to talk for hours about what this politician said and what that politician said and what this political party said and all the things that are wrong politically in the world, and you might be right. But the anger behind that is actually your own self-deprecation, your own self-devaluation. And you're projecting it, right or wrongly, on other people around you. But if you were in the midst of pure, undiluted, higher dimensional love that saw you and it penetrated into you, it would feel like it was killing you. Because your attachment, your identity is to all of that negativity. You identify with your devaluation programming. We all do. And so the end of 3D will mean dying to our attachment to all of that negativity, to all of that drama. So When it hits, some people will have a pleasant experience. Some people, little kids won't have much of an experience at all because they haven't been devalued enough yet. They'll continue being kids and playing and pretending. For them, the pretend stage won't end. They'll just continue to keep pretending and playing into their adulthood. Whereas now, what we do to little kids when they get to be about 7 years old is we start telling them, okay, you got to stop with those stupid fantasies, and you got to come back to reality, and real life sucks and it's hard work, and you're no good and nobody's ever going to make it, and that's what we do to little kids after they're no longer cute anymore. But when this hits, little kids are just going to keep staying cute and fantasizing and playing, throughout their adulthood. But for the rest of us, it's going to be challenging. For the people who've done work, those of you who are doing the lightning qigong or whatever spiritual practice you have, you will have an easier time with it. For those of you that aren't doing that, you indulge in the fear. You really like the fear and the anger and the victim mentality. Then when that love hits you, it could be challenging for you. You're going to have to cry a lot. You're going to have to feel some of that pain and release it. So the good news is you can do the work now to start getting ready for it. It is going to come. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I came on late tonight because of a bunch of other things. And part of the reason was I was working with getting these uploaded. So on audible.com, you can go and check this out. I would like it if you used these links. Because when you go to on these links, of course, you get a possibility of a free trial. And of course, it's better for me. It's the exact same for you, but it works out better for me. So right now, I've got 4 of my books on Audible. Extraterrestrials Are Coming to Earth. You can go to bit.ly/extraterrestrials for that one. RUNE Shamanism. bit.ly/RUNE Shamanism. Happiness, that's one of my first books that a lot of people don't know about, but it's an excellent book. bit.ly/happiness book MWD. And then Wealth Shaman, that was my first book that I ever wrote. bit.ly/wealth shaman. You can go try those out for free, and leave me an honest review. I hope you will. Okay, so I'm opening it up for questions, if you have any, and feelings. Vincent.thunderwizard.com says hello. He is one of my Vedic astrologers. Go to his website, vincent.thunderwizard.com. You can see here on the chat all the stuff he has available to you. Thundra.thunderwizard.com, THUNDRA.thunderwizard.com. Also one of my Vedic astrologers. She has a bunch of stuff she does as well. Go check her out at her website. Vincent.thunderwizard.com, honest feeling. Feel violated, guilt and shame. I hosted a CODA meeting on Zoom, and trolls got in and started havoc. I was told it's not my fault, but I feel responsible to make it a safe space, and I failed. Well, I'm sorry you're feeling that. And the only thing about that seems the most traumatic is the part that you say you feel responsible. So feeling responsible for something that's out of your control, everybody was perfectly capable of shutting off the Zoom and not being a part of it. So I'm sorry you're going through that, but it does sound like something you can talk to your sponsor about and work through it. I don't see any other questions here. No other questions? I guess we're done for tonight then. So, the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong here at thunderwizard.com. You can subscribe to that. You can unsubscribe whenever you want if it doesn't work for you, but I challenge you to go on there, press play on the level 1 videos, and just do the practices. And if you don't have a massive transformation, then by all means unsubscribe. As I said, the new book, Extraterrestrials Are Coming to Earth, you can get that paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. And if you want to see all the other stuff that I offer, you can go to courses.thunderwizard.com, see my books, and all of the other teachings that I make available to you. Let's see, I'm doing all this once again to give you time to write a question if you have any. I don't see any questions coming up, so I guess we're done for the evening. All right, my friends, that's it. I wish you guys all the best. Thank you for showing up. And yeah, do your part to act as though, it's an exercise, it's a meditation. Act as though you are in the solar flash. Act as if it's already happened and see what it does for you. The other thing that I recommend before I go is that I do recommend that we all participate in interdimensional revolution. Interdimensional revolution means that we are consciously choosing to destroy the third dimension. I'm making a big deal about that because one of the first things that happened to me after choosing to interact with higher dimensional beings, was that I almost immediately started having this feeling that I was betraying my own species. And I wasn't the first person. Somebody else shared that with me as well, their first time that they did CE5. But the reason why that's important is because our human brains identify with the toxic limitations of 3D. So when you take actions to destroy the third dimension, one of the first things the lower vibrational part of you, the reptilian part of your brain will do is make you feel guilty as though you are killing your species, you're betraying them. But the only thing that's happening is that you're destroying the third dimension, the limitations of the third dimension. So my suggestion is, if you want to have the most impact on destroying the power of the elites that have a grip on the consciousness of the planet, is to do interdimensional revolution. The most powerful aspect of interdimensional revolution is to do CE5. That's the letter C, the letter E, the number 5 protocols. You can go online. You can do any one of my interdimensional meditations that I've been doing on the live stream. Just follow those. And when you connect, when you choose and you say, I'm choosing to connect to higher dimensional beings, when you do that, you break a hole between the dimensional barriers. More of the fifth dimension comes into our dimension. And every time you do that, the psychopathic elites who are destroying our world lose a little more power. Listen, if there was 1 million people and they all did CE5 at the same time, the elites would come crashing down that very same day. That's my actual belief. Because that many people choosing to initiate contact with higher dimensions would destroy the ability of the rest of humans to continue to go along with the narrative. It's the only thing that keeps the elites in power, is that we choose to go along with the narrative. Instead of fighting back, don't fight back. Don't start political things. Don't storm the Capitol. Don't do anything except choose to initiate higher dimensional contact. We will get rid of the elites faster than we can blink. So that's my suggestion to you. I'm doing that because I see some questions piling up. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Oh, I already read that. Timothy Zoll, question. Do you have time to do a quick meditation, please? Thank you for the request. I am not going to do so today. I actually need to repair myself energetically. I've been doing so much work that I'm a little bit frazzled. So I do have to just sort of give myself a little bit of rest. But I appreciate that. Feel free to ask me whenever you see me online, but not today. I'm not up for it today. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Thanks. Okay. That's it. Nothing else? All right, I guess we're done then. So go do CE5, do 90-day challenge, read the book, do all of those things, and you will be supporting the interdimensional revolution, destroying the power of the elites. Until next time, my friends, I can't wait to see you again, and I look forward to experiencing not only my evolution, but yours as well. That's it. Take care.